So this is Batman with the Chef's Connection. I'm here with Danielle Boulud, which I'm really excited about. There was supposed to be a very pretty young lady that was supposed to be here. She couldn't make
it's
it.
me.
You got me.
All good.
And I was really excited about this. I generally don't do this kind of stuff. It's not my thing, but I was looking forward to sitting with you just for a minute.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you.
So we'll make this kind of quick. What was your first food job?
My first food job, paid or unpaid?
Whatever you considered a job.
Well, I think it was home. My first food job, connection with food, I would say, because I was born and raised on a farm. I was connected with food, from when we. Every year we will slaughter 2 pigs, and that day it will be a 48 hours feast of non-stop breaking down the pig into all the pieces and participate in making sausage and blood sausage and ham and saucisson and pancetta and all kind of the basically you waste absolutely nothing in the pig.
Right.
And as a kid, you always help. You want to help. You want to turn the crank to ground the meat. You want to hold the. You want to hold the fennel to make the boudin. With a, or you want to help clean the intestine, which is the most dirtiest and smelliest thing to do. But at least. It's fun.
Called chitlins down south, and I was at a house once, and they had chitlins, and it was a very old lady who couldn't clean them really
Absolutely. well. But every Friday, Saturday morning was the day my father was going to the farmers market. So I will help my grandmother in the making of the goat cheese, by trying to scoop that little freshly custard of milk, kind of like when the milk start to just set with the rennet, so and then you put it into those little strainer of cup, like a cup with holes where you can let the fromage blanc sit and set and drain, and then from there after you mold the cheese. So you always try to help with that. I mean. On Friday, it will be basically the day where we will prepare all the chicken, the rabbit, the pheasant. Not the pheasant, the guinea hen, and so you have to slaughter them. You have to pluck them, help plucking chicken. And
was slaughtering tough for you the first time? For me, I'm from Brooklyn. I would run away.
No, I was born on a farm. We take a lot of care all our life to the animal. We give them a lot of care, but come a time where maybe it's kind of the circle of life with the farm. And I think once you understand that, it's okay. Yeah. It's not so difficult.
Gotcha. Okay, well now we're going to skip to the last job you had before you went to or came to the United States.
Yeah, and the last job before I came to the United States, that was in Copenhagen.
Okay.
That was for a young Danish chef before René Redzepi existed. I think René was a kid. And he was a young Danish chef where his father was already a famous restaurateur, and Jan Hurtikal, the son, was creating his first restaurant, and he was very young, in his 20s. And so in Copenhagen, I worked in one of the most famous hotels there, and the finest. And I did that for a year and a half, and then I switched to this young chef, and it was his first restaurant. We were like 4 in the kitchen working, but the ambition were amazing. We were doing amazing tasting menu at the time, and it was a very exciting time because I could relate to the creation of a business. I always worked in 3-star and 2-star and fancy hotels, and so it was the good school. But then the interesting school was to see and be part of the creation of a restaurant where you're on a budget and you are very creative, but you still try to stay in budget. And you are making food were not expensive but delicious. And so it's not about like trying to be a 3-star or a gastronomic restaurant, but more about being an amazing, spontaneous, local sort of rising star chef.
Gotcha. And what was your position there?
Chef de cuisine,
Okay.
because the owner was a chef, but
Right.
mostly chef owner, and I was chef de cuisine. So I was 23.
That's pretty young.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I did that until I was 24 plus, and then I had this opportunity to come to America. So.
And what was the reason to come to America? Was it something missing in France or something better in the U.S.?
No. I had no idea I was going to come to America. I was not trying hard to come, except a friend of mine called me and offered me this opportunity maybe to apply as a private chef to an embassy in Washington. And I felt, and as a private chef in an embassy, maybe that give me the chance to travel. Because they gave me a visa, they gave me a car, an apartment, and a very lousy salary, but at least I felt that the 3 other filled the requirement. So that was good. And I knew that I will be able to cook my food and yet try to, in another continent, I would still be able to cook well, great cuisine. So for that, I was not worried about the job. And I applied, and I was, chosen to be the chef. So I came to Washington, D.C. in 1980. I remember it was the last week of August in 1980, and stayed there for 2 years in D.C. I was the private chef of the European Economic Community, which was at an embassy there and at a delegation, because it's not really a country, but it was at the time the sort of the body of the EU represented by an ambassador. And it was fun.
Did you miss France?
No, because I was right across the French embassy. I was right across the French embassy. I was hanging out with the French every day, including chefs like Jean-Louis Paladin and many other French chefs. The chef of the French embassy, Francis Lerle, at the time, and we were always together. And I would go to the market and see a French butcher, and there was always at the time when in Georgetown there was a little place called Georgetown Market, and Patrick O'Connell will come and do his market there as well. Drive an hour and a half to go to DC, an hour and a half back to the inn at Little Washington to do his market. And so it was the early 80s, and it was fascinating to be in America for the food, because they were really the beginning of a transformation here.
Okay, and you helped.
Well, I did
think
contribute.
It seems so. That's what I hear. Yeah.
Yeah, I did contribute, but so were, I think, so many chefs of maybe my generation were really also contributing as well. And I think we think that the food today is better than ever, but I would say that in the 80s the food was pretty good too. So people who say the food is better than ever today is because they don't know much about the past.
Well, in the 80s, they say in New York especially, it wasn't a very safe place or whatever.
No,
absolutely. I remember the 80s. I never had a problem. And I started photographing in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
And I have some wonderful stuff. Yeah. It's when the crazies could afford to live here.
I know.
So there was a lot of crazy stuff going on.
I know. It was so good.
So I'm going to do a book on it. So get ready.
Oh, good. I love it.
So I got to bounce back because I forgot, when you were a kid, there were other things that you were thinking about being besides a chef.
Oh yeah, I mean, first, I didn't want to be a farmer because I felt I wouldn't be as good as my father maybe, and I don't know if I wanted to do all those tasks. And I had a chance maybe to be a jockey. I also dreamed to be a race, sort of a motorcycle racer, but that didn't last too long because I fell too many times. And then, but a jockey also, because I had friends who have horses. But I was lucky to start in a 2-star restaurant as an apprentice, and I think it did put me on a track. And funny enough, today Restaurant Daniel is Relais Chateau, Tradition et Qualité, which are two of the most exclusive sort of association of fine dining restaurants in the world, and chef-driven restaurants.
So you did
So
good.
Tradition, les Grandes Tables du Monde and Relais Chateau, both the first restaurant I started to work with were members of Relais Chateau and les Grandes Tables du Monde, and I always wanted to work in one of those restaurants after, because they were chef driven and because they were the finest of the sort of private inn and hospitality business. And it served me well because I did Michel Guérard, I did Roger Verger, I did Georges Blanc, I did all this kind of Tour de France with these different places who really were prestigious and recognized places. So
Nice. I was talking with the chef on Friday, and he mentioned you should do something about chefs and cars. And then
Yeah.
I just noticed on this thing here
Oh, I
that
love
you've
cars.
always wanted an Aston Martin.
oh, I had one for 10
you
years,
did?
11 years, yeah.
Was it James Bond,
DB7,
inspired?
DB7, comfortable, 12 cylinder,
so
a bomb. I mean, it was such a great car. And then I wasn't driving it enough, and I don't know why. Maybe my life was changing a little bit, and I decided to sell the car. But it was painted red, like a Ferrari.
Nice.
And so it was a beautiful car, but I'd get another Aston Martin again.
You will?
Yeah.
Never too late.
Yeah,
Okay.
plus
Unless they take your driver's
the good
license.
thing with Aston Martin, it's always a DB, and I am a DB,
Oh,
so we go well. DB7, DB9, DB11, we're all good.
Okay, sounds good. Maybe I will do a book on cars and chefs.
Yeah.
Let's see.
One who love car also is Carmelini.
Is he?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. I got to call him.
Jérôme Bocuse,
He told me to call him. He's gonna. Okay, we'll do that.
Andrew, yeah.
So this will be another new thing for me to have to find out about chefs, because most of the time I don't like to talk about the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in all the different restaurants you work, they want just like your deep dark secret, which I thought was pretty funny.
Uh-huh.
Your was it the gummy bears and jelly
Yes.
beans and stuff.
Well, I have gummy bear back here.
I just has a Twix.
I have gummy bear from Canada. My assistant Claudia brought me gummy bear from Canada.
Have
She
you?
says the best.
Is it? So have you had it yet? Have a
Yeah,
chance?
I'll give you some. You have my leftover gummy bear on my desk? I think I have some left.
Also, from France, they have that squeaky cheese. You know the squeaky cheese? When
No,
you chew
what do
on
you
it?
mean?
I
Oh,
have
wow.
more in my bag. You want more?
What brand is that? No, but this
Oh,
is mine.
Dare. The Canadian.
It's called what?
Dare.
There.
All right,
Very good.
I'll try it as soon as we're done.
Let me.
J'en
Yeah.
ai plus, j'en ai dans mon sac.
Look at those gummy bears. They're really fabulous.
All right.
Uh-huh.
Will I be able to get rid of this in a couple minutes so I can keep talking?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is good. They have a squeaky cheese in Canada, and it comes in a bag. And when you chew on it, it squeaks on your teeth.
Oh, I never heard that about that.
But once you put it in the refrigerator, it dies, and it won't do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh my
it's
god.
really fun.
That sounds like a little chemical threat.
Something. Okay, funny story from the kitchen. It was one about the 500, the food that got lost on the way to the plane.
Oh yeah.
But you didn't finish the story. What happened? Was there no food on? Did they have to eat airline
No,
food?
no.
Oh, maybe we should start from the so
It was
everybody
from
knows.
my days at Le Cirque, where Malcolm Forbes, the famous, the original Malcolm Forbes, was celebrating his 70th anniversary, and he had a big estate in Morocco. And And so he chartered Royal Air Morocco with 300 people in the plane, the Concorde for 100 people, and another airline from America chartered a 3 plane. And they were gonna leave in the morning and fly to Morocco and certainly arrive in the evening there. And so my Comfort was a very good customer of Le Cirque. We knew them well, so they asked us, the people who prepared for that flight, they were flying about 700 of the most famous people in the world, and of showbiz, of politics, of media, of entertainment, anything. And they said, would you be able to do the breakfast to take on the plane? And we said yes. And so we decided that we will do a small basket where there will be the water, there'll be everything in it, including the lunch, and the bread and the little salad, and we even did some eggs with a little montgolfière, kind of a little, because he was big with montgolfière, Malcolm Forbes. So the eggs with the montgolfière, garnish and all that. So 700 basket was made and ready to go to the airport by 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. We finished. He had to finish the basket, and I was the chef at Le Cirque at the time. And we put them in a refrigerated truck outside, and we told the driver, don't move, somebody will come and pick you up to drive you to the to escort you to the airport. And I was working at the time with a catering company to help the logistic of finding the basket and managing the transportation and all that. And so anyway, we all go to the airport at 6 o'clock in the morning, and by 7 the truck was supposed to arrive, and by 9 the guest was supposed to leave. Anyway, at 7 o'clock no truck. At 7:30 we start to worry. By 7:45 we learn, or by 7:30 we learned, and the truck had left Daniel, but we don't know where did he go, because the driver was not there when we tried to come and pick him up. Bottom line, we lost the truck. And the truck was somewhere in Brooklyn. The guy went home and fell asleep, and it took about an hour and a half. So finally by 8:30, 8:45, they found the truck drive to the airport, and as the people were going all into the planes, we see the truck coming on the tarmac and the highway and the tarmac, and finally make it to the plane. We rushed and brought all those baskets to the guests there and gave it to them on their knees before the plane took off. It was like right at the nick of time, but it would have been a disaster, because they would have nothing to eat. That was pretty bad.
Except crackers and seltzer.
So it taught me a lesson, and when I do something, it's very important, and I'm 100% involved with it, and down to the really detail, because here he was like working with a third person, and those people were not reliable. But anyway.
Gotcha. All right. So, did you ever dream that you would be where you are now? I mean, with all the restaurants, or is it what you always wanted to do, or is this more than you want? I mean, it's very rewarding, I am sure.
Yes.
But is it more than you really wanted? You know what I mean? Are you like over your head and going, okay, this is really great, but...
No, I think I'm very blessed, and I think it's, my ambition was to work for the best chef in Europe, and my ambition was really to become one of them one day, to be able to succeed as well as they did in the culinary world, and to make an impact, and to be able to grow with my generation, but then teach the new generation, and sort of this important responsibility you have as you grow to become maybe a more recognized personality in your business. I mean, it's to be able to keep teaching the young generation, keep promoting the young generation. I work with Michel Guérard, and Michel Guérard is chef de cuisine when I went to work for him at Eugénie-les-Bains. His chef de cuisine was 22 years old, and he had already wrote 2 books with him in collaboration with other young chefs. So he really trusted young talent very early, and I always felt like this was such a rewarding thing for a young person to work for a great chef and to be trusted and rewarded like this was fabulous. And so I always felt good in America coming here as a very young cook, or maybe a very young chef, because when I came I had about 11 years of experience cooking, and right away I felt very engaged and felt that there was an amazing resources of energy and passion and interest, and maybe the cooks weren't all trained well, but they were all willing to be trained well, and they were all willing to learn. And I think that was what gave me, ambition and success, I guess, is then I worked with amazing people who wanted to give everything for me as much as I gave everything to the people I work for.
Nice. This is really nice.
Yeah, it's and so after that, you need a little bit of luck. You need a little bit of I didn't choose to come to New York because I wanted to build a restaurant empire. I thought I was going to be here. Even the late 80s, I was planning to go back home to France.
Okay.
And then I felt I was already too engaged. I had won the James Beard at the time. Best chef in New York, I think, or around the 90s, something like this, early 90s. Early 90s, and I was voted best chef by Food and Wine in '88, and 89, 90, my daughter was born, and I wanted to go back to Lyon because I felt if I'm gonna start my own business, I better first get that out of my mind. And do I want to be in France or in America? And that was the big question. So for 2 years, I tossed the idea. And then in '92, I decided to stay here.
So you didn't go back to Lyon?
No.
Oh.
I went for like 3, 4, 5 weeks at the time, and tried to find a place to raise money because I didn't have money either. So, but I felt that I was already too engaged here, and I was too. I don't know. I was writing a cookbook at the same time. And the cookbook was really about my time already here, the last 5-7 years of what I've done at the time, and I really felt that New York was for me, and I'll try to do good for New York. So
you did good. You did real good. Was it scary opening up? If this is your first place?
No, that was where Café Boulud I opened, because this was the Siècle when I left. So.
Oh, okay, that's before my time.
Yeah,
okay,
and so Café Boulud was 1992. 1992 I took the space, and early '93, in May '93, I opened Daniel, 25 years ago. And then 4 years later, or 3.5, 4 years later, Le Cirque is moving to the Palace.
Right.
The hotel is closing here, and the owner and the developer of the building, who bought the building and is developing this into condominium, asked me if I wanted to come back and say, we'll make you a proposition which will be good for you. And so, not that it was cheap, but it was good. So they gave me all the commercial space where the old Cirque and the hotel was, and they didn't give it to me, they sold it to me. But at least it was a condominium, and for me, I took the risk 25 years ago to really put a huge financial investment into this. But I felt then, 25 years ago will be right to do it, and also by purchasing the real estate, it made sense
Right.
versus not owning the real estate. I would have not taken the risk if I didn't own the real estate. And so 25 years later, I think it was a good thing to do.
You did good. You
Worked
did good
hard.
at a lot of things.
Worked hard. It's a lot of accumulation of work here,
I
Danielle.
would say, and everybody's stressed out about a lot of other things, but
And we really
you knocked it out of
love
the
where
park.
it is. Yeah, we really love where it is today, and we continue to, our ambition continue to rise, and we hope to continue to be one of the finest restaurants in New York and in America.
Okay, next, what do you do to chill out? I mean, like not spend time with your family because I mean you have 8 million things on your mind all the time. Is it
And I have 2 young kids who are very young.
kids. I know. I started also. I'm right there with you.
Oh, mine is 1 year old and 4 years old.
Well, I guess at your age, mine was the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last kids I had was I was 54 when I had 54, 64. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I was 54 when I had my last set of kids.
Yeah, cute. So anyway,
okay,
beside my young kid chilling out, I try to do it with friends. It happened sometimes.
Is it required time? I mean, someplace you go to like hide. You know what I mean?
Yes, and that is happening now for the last year and a half, as I have a country house, and not too far, an hour away from New York. I can take the train. I can take my car, but and it's very peaceful. It's very beautiful. I want to do a garden there. I want to be able to grow an orchard.
Okay.
So there is project in the future with that.
Sounds well. You can't
But-
stop working.
But that is a good place for me, and I think chilling out. You want to be able to not isolate yourself, but find a place where you can rest. You can socialize maybe if you want to, but you can rest and you can share time with whoever you want to be with. And,
I have a place like that too.
and then if I want to write a new book or something, I think that'll give me that. Where do you go?
St. Thomas. I have a house there.
St. Thomas, the
in
island?
Virgin Islands. Yeah.
Huh.
So it's 3.5
Man,
hours.
you're a traveler.
And I go there. I put my feet up and I go.
Yeah. What is next? What is next? Then suddenly your mind goes like,
Yeah.
okay, what is gonna be next?
Well, I don't know about you, but what I found when I first started going down there was in 90 something. I would go into the car rental place and say, okay, I gotta go because I was still wound up from New York. And then finally, a couple of years later, I said, what's my hurry? And now I get on the plane and I don't remember. I don't care about anything that's happening in New York.
Absolutely.
Zero, totally
Yeah, yeah,
zero.
yeah,
It's really wonderful.
Cool.
So yeah, okay.
Excellent.
Glad you got one of those.
Yeah.
Okay, one more question I'll ask you, so I don't hold you up.
No.
I'm a photographer and a musician.
Yes.
Both of them came really easy for me. It's not like I studied around. I mean, music I did. I've been playing the flute for 61 years, but I studied for 3 years when I was 10, and they all come really easy. But everybody says you're an artist, but I don't feel like I'm an artist because I don't have to think about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But as a chef, I mean, you pick up a new thing that a new ingredient, and what am I going to do with it? Does your tongue take over, or how do you? It takes more thinking than me supposedly being creative.
Like for example, we have this ingredient we use, which I've not seen in my entire career before. Never use it. It's celtus. So celtus is kind of a sprout of a lettuce, but it's more of a Chinese kind of vegetable and all that. So it has sort of a coconut finish between a cucumber and maybe a chayote, and it has mostly a core, and that get peeled and cut or cooked whole or grilled or roast or puree and so when you look at a vegetable like this, you have to think like first you try to see the reference to it and how it is used in the past and then after try to accommodate that, because we do always a very seasonal cuisine, but with ingredients who are maybe unique or different, and like we have a lady foraging for us, and that's always they're always bringing things which is not maybe part of the repertoire what we do, or is not part of the normal supply we get, but at least we bring it into our dishes in a way that we can highlight it or at least create something unique with it. And so Celtus is something we have been using, and I love the taste, the texture. I love the delicate sort of flavor. It's sort of a green vegetable without being too grassy, too deep in flavor, but delicate. So it can go well with fish. It goes well with meat as well. We right now we use it with the beef, and we use it with lettuce as well. So we have celtus and lettuce. So there is a similarity, but also seaweed goes very well with celtus as well. So there is that sort of combination of a vegetable who can go either with something more earthy or something more sort of marine and more with a sea preparation.
So do you go through a lot of things like you put it together and say, oh, this tastes terrible?
Yeah,
or
but
have you gotten to the
of
point where
course,
you
like,
can guess pretty good?
I mean, it's like when we work with quince, you can't really deal with quince as a raw ingredient. It's not good, and as a cooked one, you got to put sugar a little bit, or at least just a balance where either the fruit become meaty and almost like a veggie things, or it can become it can become savory, or it can be sweet. But when you use quince as a savory things, you don't want too much sugar, but you want unique flavor with it. So you can put we do with like pomegranate and quince sometimes. So the pomegranate give the color, but give also a little bit of flavor. And we can use that for foie gras, or if we do a dessert with the quince, then it's more on a heavy syrup base of a flavor as well of something. So it all depends what you do with it and what contrast you want to create with some ingredient. Contrast of spicy or savory or crunchy or sweet or sweet and sour.
Well, do the young chefs have more? It takes longer because they haven't tasted so many things. I mean, you've been around
but
for a long time.
no.
You
I mean,
kinda
young chef, their mind sometimes is like a firework and it's going every direction. But some of them, it fall on the plate right, and that's good. I would say it's and I think, well, for here the case of young chef at Daniel. They're not in the power of decision of making dish. They are just in a power of executing the dish, and when they grow up to a rank of sous chef, then they start to participate in the creation of a dish. But until then, they are more there about making sure that we give them the recipe, the technique, the expectation, and they are consistent with it. We try to teach them a lot about waste also, because I think what drives me crazy in our world is how much waste we can create trying to make fancy, fussy food.
Right.
And I don't like it.
No, I understand perfectly. Although eating a whole animal for me, I guess because I was in Brooklyn or whatever it was where I was brought up, eating weird stuff, whether it be the chitlins, the intestines and things. I can't even put it in my mouth. And even octopus, I've tasted octopus. My wife is Japanese, so she has a lot of course. And and it's fine, but there's something psychological about it.
Yeah, and there's well, of course, and sometimes some ingredients, there's in the full cycle of recycling things. Of course, a fancy restaurant will buy filet mignon, will buy ribeye. Then the more casual restaurant will buy other cuts of steaks and all that. Then after the other type of fast food will buy the legs and other part to make burgers and all that. Let's say in the beef. So there is like this chain of consumption, which for different categories of restaurants use different pot.
Gotcha.
And then one day I was doing, and that I'm talking about 30 plus years ago. I was at Le Cirque at the time, and I was doing at the Armory a charity dinner. And I said, oh well, I'm gonna do. It was the winter, cold. I'm gonna do buffalo carrot, beef with carrots, but I decided to use beef cheeks because I knew beef cheeks. I love beef cheeks. That was before beef cheeks was kind of known and popular.
Mm-hmm.
So I made this beautiful beef cheeks, braised beef cheeks, like tender to the spoon, and it has enough collagen inside, enough tenderness when you cook well, and it's not dry. It's not like beef shank, or it's not like maybe a braised piece of beef. Even short ribs could get dry. This one was amazing. And so I was proud of my beef cheek. I served my beef cheeks. And then a lady come to me and said, do you know what we do in America with beef cheeks? And I said, no. She said, we make dog food. I was like so upset. I thought, because in France, he would have come to my mind to do dog food with beef cheeks. So since then, I think beef cheeks has taken
A different course.
out of the dog world. But so it's but it's, I think the pleasure of using ingredients sometimes were maybe of a lesser interest and make it glorious,
Yeah. Well, I was at the Madison Square Park celebrating Flatiron Chefs.
Yeah.
It was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I can't remember which restaurant it was, but they had rabbit hearts.
Oh yeah.
On a stick.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And for me, that's rabbit.
A little too
heart.
far. Yeah.
But so there was a guy that came up and he said, "What is that?"
Rabbit liver is better.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
this was just the heart, and it was on a stick all by itself, right?
Yeah.
And there was a guy came over and he said, "What is that?" He said, "Rabbit heart." He says, "No." And the chef said, "No, it's really good, really good." And he tried. He says, "Wow, this is really good." So I figured,
Yeah.
I have to
Absolutely.
try it too. And it was
And
good.
rabbit kidney is even
Yeah.
better.
But it's still in my head. It's a rabbit's heart. It's a rabbit.
I know.
The first time I ever tasted rabbit, it was all I thought it was about was Thumper, the
Yeah.
cartoon guy.
Yeah. No.
And I didn't know it was rabbit. I tasted it. It was absolutely delicious.
Yeah. Oh, rabbit is the best. We're doing a terrine right now at Daniel with rabbit, and basically we call it. It's a pancetta. No, not the pancetta. Like we do the. We do it with suckling pig as well, or we do it in, it's porchetta, rabbit porchetta we call it. So it has chorizo inside, it has foie gras, and the loins of rabbit, and with the skin of the belly also, and we do a little farce with the liver and the kidneys, and some vegetable with it, and that's delicious. I love it. You want a slice?
Sure.
You want to taste it?
I'm going to do it. Yes.
Yeah. Let me see. I'll order one. Y'all manger? Yeah. Do you have any rabbit? Yeah, the rabbit porchetta. Do you have some upstairs? Yeah. Ah. No, the rabbit porchetta. Do you have any cooked? If you can put 2 small slices on the plate with a little bit of the seasoning, the mustard. You have mustard, huh? And you bring it up to the skybox, 2 slices. That's it, nothing else. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because you don't have the garnish yet.
So what's next? I mean, will you grow more, or? I mean,
Well,
I assume you have a good organization, so the stress is not all on your head.
Well, no, but the stress is on everybody's head. I mean,
Vitamin-
when we call it stress, but that's nature of business
Right.
as well. You know what I mean? I think so. There is definitely, Daniel is celebrating 25 years this year. Café Boulud 20 years. DBGB Bistro 18. So 17, and then all the other restaurants. So there'll be other restaurants coming.
As often as the last couple of years? The last couple of years you've opened up several.
Yeah, but I took a pause the last 2 years to just see. Also, I felt then there was gonna be some change in the economy and all that. So I'm like, let's the dust settle. Let's enjoy what we have, and also I can sign a restaurant every month if I want to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all over the world. Do I want to travel that much and do that? No. I mean, I'm happy in New York, and I'm happy we are developing a new restaurant in One Vanderbilt, which is a new building coming up in 2021, and that's right on 42nd and One Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Next
Okay,
to the Grand Central Station.
It's a big monster.
Yeah, it's a huge, beautiful. It's going to be an amazing building once it's finished.
Have you been to the Four Seasons?
The new one, yes.
Is it
Twice already.
Oh, really? Is it
Yeah.
beautiful?
Oh yeah, very nice.
Yeah. Who's paying the rent?
I don't know about that. But then where we are doing at One Vanderbilt, we are in partnership with the owner of the building,
Okay.
and that's a
good thing.
It's a good thing. Yeah, it's a great. We are developing that together, and they are fantastic people, and so we are doing a fine dining restaurant there, very different than Daniel or Café Boulud, but yet another opportunity to create something in the fine dining room.
Sure. Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So that's gonna keep me busy for the next 2 years, and then a couple of other development with Epicerie Boulud and others.
And the farm up in
the
garden.
Yeah, I need to find a farmer. So, you listener, if there is any farmer who want to come and live up in Bedford.
Do you have it's a lot of land?
Well, we have 8 acres, so.
Okay, that's enough for a farm.
Yeah, but I don't want to. No, I think with 2.5 acre, you can produce a lot of vegetable already.
Can you use it in the restaurant? I know. What is it? You can't catch your own. What is it with restaurants? You can't catch your own fish, or you can't go hunting and use your own. What you hunt.
Yeah, but you can grow your own vegetable. Yeah. And herb, vegetable, fruits. That is no problem. I mean, I don't know to what extent I want to do a farm rather than a nice garden.
Right. Okay.
I think I like to have a nice garden.
Okay.
So when I go there, at least I have my vegetable, and then eventually maybe produce for the restaurant.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'm pretty much done. You have anything you'd like to say that nobody ever asked you?
No, I don't know. Do you have any other question to?
I could probably think of some, but
Yeah.
But I'm good. Well, there's some things I just wanted to ask you, and we'll probably leave this off the record. As you get older, this is off the record. You're not noticing because time is passing so fast.
Yeah.
Right? But I was in the Navy 53 years ago, and it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But it feels like life is passing so fast. But
Yeah.
it was a long time ago.
I know.
You know.
I know.
So do you? I don't know. Have you thought about it? It's just recently that I thought about it.
I mean, I think about. I mean, next year, I will be cooking for 50 years.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And
Yeah.
when I remember when I was 14, like yesterday, and I remember, many of the cycle of life I went through to be where I am today, and they have not all been easy, for sure. They have not all been, joyful and easy, but I think, I hope that the next generation will be able to find success, and voilà. That was to taste a little bit of the rabbit porchetta.
So, Danielle, thank you for taking the time. This has really been wonderful. Something I look forward to.
Thank you, Alan.
I was a little apprehensive.
Yeah.
Because I never had to do this before.
No.
But I think it came out okay.
It's easy, and we should do it more often. I think we should have a little show together.
Okay, let's do it. I play the flute. Can you play the pots or something?
No. I'll tune up with something else.
Okay, well, merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup, Alan.
Au revoir. À
Thank
plus.
you. À bientôt.